On March 27, 2023, 6 people died outside of Nashville, Tennessee at the Covenant School where one of its previous attendees went and gunned down innocent people. This video is going to take a look at some of the motives that the shooter may have and some ways this could be prevented down the road. The shooter is described as transgender, having an emotional disorder, suffering from depression, recently losing a friend. So do any of these have a role in what happened in that tragedy where 6 people died due to the shootings? Was it by chance that the shooter chose that school, or was it there's some sort of psychological reason behind their motive? So I will look into some of the psychological principles that may have occurred, because I think if people are educated about what the circumstances that could go on, what may lead to identity disorders, what may lead to anger, emotional problems, then that could sort of help prevent it from happening down the road, or at least we can catch it earlier to prevent some of these tragedies from happening. Now, first of all, I want to say that the shooting it was a planned act, is probably more so an act of evil than someone suffering from a severe psychiatric disorder. But there does seem to be some mental health problems that could have influenced their decision-making at the time. According to data obtained from the Gun Violence Archive, in 2020, there was more than 600 shootings where there's 4 or more people either injured or killed. Now, so far, just in January and February of 2023, there's more than 80 mass shootings, and 7 of those have 4 or more people killed. But at least 80 have 4 or more people injured or killed. It seems like it's an issue that's too common nowadays. First of all, I've come across many different articles about the shooter. So through these articles, it says a little bit what happened with their life or what was going on with their life. They went to the school since middle school, and it's a Presbyterian or a school that tries to teach about the Christian faith, probably. One of the hobbies that the shooter had was playing basketball. Initially, they were born as a female, but later on in their life, they're identifying as a male and trying to use the he, him pronouns. One of the neighbors was interviewed, described the family as one that was very religious. Now, typically, I would think of being a religion and being very religious as a good thing, but if it was too extreme, it could be something negative, which I'll talk a little bit about later in this video. So far with this information taking place, went to a Christian school, identifying as someone that was male, although they're biologically female. There's some psychological issues that may be playing a role that had them having difficulty with their identity. And now this theories date back to Erik Erikson as a psychosocial stages of development. Only one can successfully grow into adulthood if they've successfully passed these identity labels. And so it doesn't seem like the shooter was able to successfully pass through this identity. According to the Christian faith, from my understanding, you can't really change the genders. You're either male or female. You're not typically both. So it's probably difficult for a really religious family to accept. It might have also been difficult for the person themselves to accept. And I've talked about previously what could happen if someone suffers from gender dysphoria, meaning if someone has a conflict about the gender that they were given at birth and the gender that they want to identify as. And so there could be some biological reasons for this. There could be more testosterone than estrogen ratio. And so if there's more testosterone, there's more tendency to do masculine activities, masculine characteristics. And so maybe they would lean towards being a male. But psychologically, there's a lot of things that could play a role. In particular, one of the leading theories is that it could deal with the mother-child relationship, or it could deal with the person trying to fill a void in the family. For example, if this person is trying to be a male, perhaps their father was not present or not involved in the person's life or in the family life at home, and perhaps this person was trying to fill a void in the family dynamic to become a male to replace the father that was missing. Look, it's just a theory, but those are some of the theories why people will change genders or have a conflict with the gender they were born with than what they identify as. So it's not really fair to blame the father for what's going on with the child, but it brings up a good, important principle that the parent has to be good enough. There's this term like a good enough parent or a good enough mother. So they can't be too overbearing or else the child may be pushed away, but they can't be totally distant or aloof. Otherwise, the child won't have that parental figure that they need. So from a Christian background, one of the most important theories about Christianity is that one's identity is not in their gender, it's not in their socioeconomic status, it's not in their work or their school. Yes, all those things may matter, but the identity, first and foremost, is in God and in Christ. And it's through identifying with Christ, with those good beliefs, with those moral principles such as faith, love, hope, kindness, goodness, self-control, all those things, that's when one will be able to have more appreciation of their life, better understanding of what their role is in this world. And it seems like this person just did not have that. They did not get those teachings over the development of their life, and they were confused. These teachings help people to not be negatively influenced by the world and the environment around them. So again, to commit an evil act such as murder, severe mental illness does not really plan those activities. It's just simply put, it's more evil than anything else. Yes, evil can influence people to have mental illness, mental disease, but usually mental disease, mental illness does not cause evil acts like what happened here. Also, this is a very complex task to plan out where to shoot, the guns, etc. People with severe mental illness do not have the mental capabilities to do these acts. Now, there's some other interesting psychiatric principles that play a role here. Many news articles suggest this person was suffering from a depression. And so Sigmund Freud, who's one of the founding fathers of psychoanalysts and psychoanalytic and psychotherapy, basically Freud hypothesized that anger turns inward is depression. And so if this person had a lot of anger inward causing depression, it seems like they could have just sort of let it out in this sort of violent mass shooting. It's probably clear that they had anger or some mood disorder or emotional instability. And maybe the death of their friend, the news report says that this person had a close friend that died last year. Perhaps they were traumatized from that, and that could be a source of anger. Or perhaps the anger they were feeling was just a nature of their depression. Maybe they were angry at some sort of experience the school provided them growing up or did not provide them growing up. Because again, this act on the school that they went to seems to be targeted. Maybe they were angry towards some of the teaching of the school, maybe some of the principles the school lived by. I think it seemed like it was through the school contact that this person got to know the friend that died last year. So maybe this was like a retribution or revenge on the school for just getting to know that person and having them out of their life. Whatever it was, for the school involved, the kids, the teachers, the families involved, the employees, this is a tragedy that hopefully can be avoided in the future, not just for this school, but for all schools. So as a psychiatrist, when someone comes into my clinic or in the hospital setting or some sort of treatment setting with anger, depression, any mood instability, they're gonna be treated on medications to try and help stabilize their moods, to help so those symptoms and that intensity of the mood problems are less. But as you can see here, there's many other psychological factors that may play a role into why someone is having these mood swings. Maybe they are grieving a loss of a loved one. Maybe they're suffering from depression. Maybe they have a problem with their identity or conflict with their identity that they have trouble just understanding or getting through. Yes, psychotherapy can help address all those factors, but oftentimes psychotherapy is limited. The most important tool in all these factors, medications, therapy, being good, staying away from evil, is the peace and love of Jesus Christ.